come here to chew bubblegum.
You're listening to Hear the Chew Bubblegum, recorded from a secret location in the city that moves mountains.
Greetings.
We come in peace.
How's it going today, Cronkite? My good buddy, one of the best friends that I have.
It's humid, and
Very,
hot,
very humid.
and rainy.
But I'm not going to complain because I will take that over snow any day.
I will take desert weather over what we've got going on right now.
Desert weather?
Yes, no humidity.
Yeah, but you have sandstorms in desert weather.
That's fine. I've got a house. I can get inside.
Yeah, but what if you have a delivery to make?
That's fine. My van has, filters on it. So,
Well, what if it is a really bad sandstorm and you get trapped?
what do you mean, like snowed in, kind of?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You didn't think about that,
Well,
did you?
here's the thing: if it gets to that point, I mean, I can pee into a sock and filter my pee out and drink it, and then I can also chew on my leg and eat.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So it should be okay.
Yeah.
Survival. That's what it's all about.
I guess so. Do you want to tell us about something that you've got there, not in front of you this week, but you should have it by memory, maybe?
I don't have the phone number.
Oh, okay. Well, you can go ahead and give everything else out.
Well, sure. On July 31st, we are going to be at
Yes, we are.
the Pikeville Comic and Toy Con, and that's going to be held at the Appalachian Wireless Arena. We're going to be there. We're going to be doing some shows.
Yes, we are.
And we're going to be walking around talking to the folks.
Yes, we are.
And that is going to be, again, at the Appalachian Wireless Arena, July 31st. For more information, they have a Facebook page. It's the Comic e-store and tech shop.
Good job.
And also, you can check their website out, PikevilleComicCon.net.
Yes, that is correct. And I'm in the process of talking to our good friend T-Shirt Joe and getting some shirts. Have two different designs. One of them is our poster that we have.
Oh, good.
And the second one will be a quote that says, "I'm sorry, Stephen /Cronkite."
Nice.
So, and I thought about maybe surprising you and having your face put on it as well. I don't know. Still working on that.
Well, I have another design too. One day when we get to
Okay.
when we get to the big time, we want to put out a third shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good to me. We're going to start out with some email. Dave says, "Hey, Goose and Cronkite, I've got a question for you. Do you think that we will ever truly know how long the government has known about aliens or life on other planets?" Roswell.
We will, but we won't know it in our lifetime. It'll be humanity itself will know, but it'll be 100 years from now.
I think we already have a really good idea without them even coming forward and saying anything and telling us.
Well, I'd say we have a good idea, but as far as them confirming, yes, this is when we figured out we weren't alone.
Have you saw some of the recent stories on social media and on some of the news reports? Some of them are saying that the government has claimed, and we even read one a while back. They were talking about how, no, it's not aliens. It could be, but it could also be Russia or China.
Yeah.
Now, I saw just a few moments ago before we started recording the show, they're saying, no, it's not aliens, but not giving a reason why.
Well, it makes you wonder if it's if that's how they're going to get away with quote unquote disclosing by saying, yeah, it could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Very strange. You know how underhanded and sneaky
the government is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yes, I do not believe anything the government says.
Not at all. So just had to asks. We're a few weeks away from officially being summer.
Yes, we are.
What's your plans? Any trips? Will we still get shows? Roswell.
We will still get shows. We will have quite a few pre-recorded. Normally we record on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and you hear those on a Sunday or a Monday. But you will have new material. You will have shows. I'll be going later on this month to the great state of Florida.
Oh.
Or next month, I mean. What about you? You and your van going on any exciting trips?
Not unless somebody pays me to.
Well, hey, there you go.
No, right now I have no immediate plans. I mean, I might go one state over to the mountains.
Right. So you're going over to Virginia?
No, one state down. I mean.
Okay, so you're
Tennessee.
going to
Yeah, possibly at some point.
Okay,
Maybe not in the summer.
Where are you going to? Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Dollywood?
Yes, well, no, not Dollywood.
Why? You don't like Dollywood?
Well, I haven't really liked Dollywood since I've become too fat to ride any of the rides, so there's no point in going there.
Why? Why do you do that to yourself? You're not fat.
I can't fit on anything.
You are pleasantly plump. You're not fat.
I mean, I agree, but
you're a good-looking man.
I know I am.
Sort of.
Well, no, I won't agree with that. I am a good-looking man. What I'm saying is, I probably wait until like the fall when it's a little cooler,
cool down a little bit.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, my next email is from Charlie. Hello, Goose, Cronkite, Ned, and Elliot. Do some research on the zoo hypothesis. I could put links in, but it's far better and much more fun for you to find it on your own. I've been looking into this for a week now. Very interesting. You need to check it out and do a segment on the show about it.
The zoo hypothesis?
Yes.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Never me either.
We'll have to do that.
We'll check it out. Dustin says, hey, Goose and Cronkite, I know you said that you don't talk politics, but I've been seeing a lot of things on social media about Biden being charged for treason and Trump getting swore back in. Have you heard, saw, or read anything like that online? If so, what's your opinion on it?
I have heard, and read stuff like that online.
I have not. This is news to me.
If it does happen, I'm going to be totally shocked.
I don't think it can happen. Here's why.
Okay.
Biden is your president. Kamala Harris is your vice
Yes.
president. And then who's the Speaker of the House right now? Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah.
So I had a theory that Kamala Harris was who was running for president anyway.
Right.
So if they arrest Joe for treason, Kamala will be your new president. If for some reason she can't handle it or is found to be treasonous also, then your Speaker of the House will, which will be disastrous for our country.
Okay.
However, we're not talking politics.
Right.
Trump has nothing in politics right now, so it's not going to happen.
Well, let me throw something out at you. You didn't talk politics there, so I'm not going to talk politics.
Sure.
Okay. The last, let's say, 4 presidents, okay, and including Donald Trump, when the president goes in and, they have the ceremony at the Arlington National Cemetery, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and the president always presents the wreath and lays it on the thing that they have there that sets it in the display. Okay, just when they did that recently, Biden and Harris were there, but the military placed it on the thing. Now, if you do a little research, there's a military tradition to where if you're not the president, you're not supposed to touch that wreath.
Oh, really?
Even though Biden, after they set it there, reached over and touched it. And you can see that they tried to persuade him not to,
Right.
But he did touch it. That throws up a big red flag
Now,
in me thinking that, if the military is following customs of like they've always followed, and they're not letting Biden do that, something's going on there that the news media is not letting out.
Sure.
That's all I'm going to say.
Now, what I will say is the only way I think Trump could get sworn in is if they somehow figured out that the election was rigged, and Trump actually won. That's the only way I could see that ever happening.
Okay. If it does, that's going to be
it's going to be a lot of waves and things.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I couldn't
My
don't know.
last email is from our good friend Dempsey. Dempsey says, "Hey guys, I see in the news and online that UAP reports are on the rise and they're rising fast. I'm starting to think that you two are right and that UFOs do exist." And that one's from Dempsey. Thank you very much, Dempsey, for that email. And I've noticed that myself. There's a lot of reports now coming out of China where they don't normally say a lot about UFOs or UAPs. And over the last couple of weeks, I think they have maybe 50, the last time I looked, reports that have been filed just in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Going back to this last one.
Yes.
If Trump did get sworn in and it was the, he was
right,
the rightfully elected leader,
yes,
it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, would it?
No, not at all. But I'm just saying that I found it weird that they didn't let Biden place the reef there.
Let me tell you something. I will take $1.23 gas any day over the crap we have right now.
Yes. Especially since you have your new business, Hurry Curry Van Delivery.
Indeed. Hurry Curry Van. Well, it's actually just Hurry Curry. However, it's me, a fat guy in a little van.
There you go. See, now, I like that name a lot better.
Well, it's not professional.
Oh.
It's a slogan, not professional.
Okay.
Also on the back of my business cards it says, "I'm no hero. I'm just a man in a van."
There you go.
How do you like that? How do you like that?
I like that. I like that a lot. How can, if anybody needs something hauled, how can they contact you?
Well, you can contact me by email right now. I don't have a company phone set up just yet. Or you can email me for here at Cronkite at Here to Chew Bubblegum or hurrycurry@yahoo.com.
Now, are you sure you don't want to give your personal cell phone number out on the radio right
No,
now?
I don't have a business number just yet.
Well, I can go ahead and just give out your personal cell phone number. I don't care a bit. It'll just take me a minute.
You can also call, text, or leave a voicemail, 606-373-3396, and I'm sure Goose will forward that to me.
Yes, definitely.
But Hurry Curry is spelled HURRY, COURY at Yahoo.
There you go. And you have one last email, correct?
I do. From Mr. Unknown, it said, "I read that hantavirus is the next scare tactic that the world leaders will use on us. Just wanted to share with you."
Yeah. Have you heard about that?
I've not.
That is like a virus that you can get from rat droppings or urine. Like if they leave it in a certain place. So let's say you're in a barn or an outbuilding and you go to sweep it up and it gets up in the air and you can breathe it in and you can get that. And I have heard about that.
That's been around forever.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and I know, who was it that wrote that email?
Mr. Unknown.
Okay, and I know what Mr. Unknown's talking about. There's a lot of hype right now on some social media platforms that is going to be the next big scare tactic.
Listen, that stuff has been around for years, for long as barns have been up.
Yes.
And also, if that were the case, places like New York City would not exist. Be a ghost town, right?
Would that be a bad thing?
I don't think so. I mean, I think if they...
Have you ever been to New York?
I've been, yes, to the Bronx.
Okay, I have never been to New York.
Yeah, I've been there. I don't want to go back. I actually drove a tractor trailer in New York.
Really?
It was terrible. I'll never do it again.
Why? Did you get paid good for it?
No. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's kind of.
Okay.
But it's just terrible. Like, I mean...
Was you, like, just gripping the steering wheel with both hands? And
no.
I'm trying to get over. This means let me over.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot of that because then there's a lot of fingers and there's a lot of horns. And but, you get a truck that's 85 feet long and trying to make city turns.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, let's say you are delivering in a big city like that and there's no delivery point to a specific business that you're delivering stuff to. You can just stop right in the road, can't you? Because you have like a special unloading permit.
You'd have an unloading permit. I don't think you can just stop in the road.
Okay.
I think you have to make an effort to get out of traffic.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you have no other choice, you can stop and you're good to go, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I've never had that issue, so I never would try that issue with.
I pretty much think you're right because I have a friend that's a police officer.
I see.
And he used to work at the cookie factory with us years ago, and he's told me that before.
I see. Okay.
So, you can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396, or you can email us.
Goose at heretochewbubblegum.com or Cronkite at heretochewbubblegum.com. You can also reach out to Nate or Elliot at heretochewbubblegum@yahoo.com.
Yes. And we're going to start out, and you're going to tell us a story about airplanes, correct?
Well, it's not a story about airplanes.
Okay.
It's just the top 10 controversial air crash conspiracy theories.
Okay, good. I'm looking forward to this.
So number 10 coming in at number 10 is Cubana de Aviación.
Okay.
Flight 455. Flight 455 was brought down by two bombs on October 6, 1976, shortly after it took off from Sewell Airport in Barbados. Two bombs were created using plastic explosives hidden in toothpaste tubes. The bombs had been placed by two men, Freddie Lugo and Hernan Lozano, who'd boarded the plane in Trinidad and departed during its stopover in Sewell. They were found and arrested not long after the bombing. Lozano originally claimed to have been working on behalf of the CIA, but retracted the claim later. He said he and Lugo had been paid $16,000 and $18,000 respectively by Luis Pacedo Carrals.
Yes. I have heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ben Cartwright's boy.
No, it's not Cartwright.
Oh, okay.
Carrals.
Okay.
Carls. Pacedo had been CIA contact until just a few months before the bombing. He was working alongside Orlando Bosch, also a former CIA contact. Both men were terrorists with the main aim of destroying the reign of the United States' longtime opponent, Fidel Castro. Whether or not the CIA were in any way involved in the bombing, they appear to have not known about it. Released intelligence reports show that the CIA contact had overheard Pacedo days before the attack claim, "We are going to hit a Cuban airplane," and Orlando has the details. Both former CIA contacts were arrested and tried in Venezuela, but both were able to escape and flee to the U.S. In 1990, President Bush issued an administrative pardon to Bosch for entering the country illegally. The Justice Department had protested sharply because against the act, as they believed it was a threat to public safety. Pacedo, who has also called the U.S. home for many years, which has faced several criticism for keeping him from justice. Pacedo's lawyer summarized the situation thus: "How can you call someone a terrorist who allegedly committed acts on your behalf?"
Yeah, that's
sneaky stuff.
Yes, very, very, very sneaky stuff.
So number 9, on November 23rd, 1973, a Douglas C-47 crashed into an industrial park in Venice. The C-47 was a World War II transport, but this particular plane had much more storied history. It flew for the Italian government, was sponsored by the CIA, and had been packed out with surveillance electronics. The crash was initially put down to pilot error, but a second investigation concluded the aircraft had been brought down deliberately, perhaps by a bomb. Yet the plane, nicknamed Argo 16, wasn't an easy target for terrorists. Its movements and purposes were classified. The flight crews and personnel that looked after the aircraft were from specifically chosen units. Smuggling a bomb on board the aircraft would have been almost impossible. United 553, which we talked about this one.
Yes, we've talked about that one on the show.
Was coming in to land at Chicago Midway Airport on December 8th, 1972, when air traffic control asked it to circle back and make another approach. The pilot descended too rapidly with too low airspeed, and the plane crashed into a residential area almost 3 kilometers or 2 miles short of the airport. 2 people on the ground were killed, as well as 43 passengers. The crash became notorious because one of the passengers killed was Dorothy Hunt, wife of one of the CIA agents convicted during the Watergate scandal. Her body was discovered alongside a handbag containing $10,000 and $100 bills.
Makes you wonder why she would have all that money with her.
Yeah. I and how did, I've seen pictures of this. There was a fire, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So how did that survive?
Now, in 1972, that $10,000 in today's money would be what, like $50,000, $60,000 probably.
Probably. I mean, I can do the conversion real quick if you want me to.
You don't have to do that. Let's just say I'm right.
Oh, you're right. Number 7 is JAT Flight 367. And this one is interesting. This one actually holds a Guinness World Record, this crash.
Really?
Yes. Vesna Volvik.
Farfiknugan.
Vesna Volovic.
Gotcha.
A former air hostess holds the Guinness World Record for the highest free fall without a parachute. On January 26, 1979, the plane she was on traveling in was blown apart at 10,000 meters or 33,000 feet. She fell into the frozen mountainside and was found with a serving trolley pinned to her spine. She spent 27 days in a coma and 16 months in the hospital before she was finally able to walk again. She took a desk job but has never stopped flying regularly. The official story was that a bomb had been placed on the plane by Ustash, a Croatian fascist terrorist group. There were, however, some big gaps in the evidence. Despite making an almost complete recovery, Volovic never regained her memory of the crash. The flight recorder was also never found. Then in 2009, a pair of investigative journalists uncovered evidence suggesting the plane was mistakenly shot down by a Czechoslovakian Air Force and covered up by the secret police. Number 6, the Kashmir Princess. It was an Air India plane chartered by the Chinese government in 1955, and on April 11th, it was carrying delegates and journalists from Hong Kong to Indonesia. China's President Zhou Enlai.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. If you're Chinese, I'm very sorry for butchering this name. Was due to be among them. He was delayed due to requiring emergency surgery, though his change in travel plans was a secret. When the plane reached 5,500 meters, or 18,000 feet, a bomb in the landing gear exploded. 3 of the crew survived, but everyone else on board was killed. The obvious theory was that the bomb was an attempt to assassinate the president. Investigators checked everyone that had been in contact with the plane and found one suspicious person, a Hong Kong janitor named Chow Sing-ming. When they tried to find him, he'd gone missing. Authorities discovered that he'd been living using 3 different aliases and had spent his last few days in Hong Kong spending much more money than a janitor would typically have. So, yeah, it sounds like an assassination attempt.
Yes, it does.
Number 5, Arrow Air Flight 1285. The worst aviation disaster to ever take place in Canada happened on December 12th, 1985. Arrow Air Flight 1285 was a chartered plane flying U.S. troops home from Cairo. It made a number of stop-offs en route, including one at Newfoundland. Shortly after takeoff on its final leg to Kentucky, the plane stalled and crashed into the ground. Everyone on board was killed, including the 8 members of the crew and 248 U.S. troops. Now, I actually read about this one, but I didn't know it was a conspiracy.
What year was that one?
1985.
That does. I mean, I was here. I was like 11 years old. I don't remember that one.
You wrote in that.
I was 11 years old.
You were driving around your Chevy Nova.
Okay. I wish I had a Chevy Nova right now.
She bought brand new off the car lot in 1967.
Yeah. I wish.
The Canadian Aviation Safety Board was unable to determine a definitive cause for the crash. The report suggested that most likely cause of buildup on ice on the wings, though 4 of the investigations team's 9 members filed an opinion that detonations of undetermined origin brought the catastrophic system failures. An Islamic terrorist group is reported to have claimed responsibility for destroying the aircraft, and witnesses in Cairo claim to have seen the troops' luggage left unattended, and the plane was loaded by non-U.S. military personnel. A Canadian press journalist received an anonymous phone call from someone with a Middle Eastern accent stating that there were diplomatic rumors that the plane had been destroyed by a bomb. The Helderberg disaster is number 4. The Helderberg disaster took place on November 27th, 1987. South African Airways Flight 295, a Boeing 747, crashed in the Indian Ocean 9 hours into the flight between Taipei and Johannesburg. As Malaysian Flight 370 showed again decades later, recovering wreckage miles underwater is a difficult task. They were at least able to find the plane and recover some of it with custom-built robotic vehicles. The flight recorder was never found, and the voice recorder took 2 years to show up. The last radio contact with the pilots that had control of the plane was filling with smoke, and debris revealed that there had been a fire that burned more than 600 degrees Celsius or 1,112 degrees Fahrenheit at the time. A Boeing specialist speculated that rocket fuel may have been carried in the cargo hold. Well, that's weird.
Yeah, why would you do that?
I don't know. I don't know why you would put rocket fuel in that.
Yeah, that's not good.
Number 3 is the Mozambican Tupilaf disaster. During the apartheid era, South Africa's government made a habit of funding rebel groups in neighboring countries with governments opposed to the regime. In 1980s, communist Frelimo government of Mozambique found themselves in conflict with their neighbor to the south, and the South Africans had aided the anti-communist Renamo, with whom the Frelimo had been fighting a civil war since 1976. Some weird names. In October 1986, the Mozambican president, Samora Machel, met with his counterparts from Angola and Zaire, which is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Zambia, to discuss an Angolan terrorist group allied with South Africa. On October 19th, Machel was heading back to Mozambique in a jet flown by the USSR flight crew loaned to his government. 15 minutes before it was due to land in Maputo,
Mesopotamia.
that one, airport, the plane turned 37 degrees off course, and the flight engineer was recorded saying that the cockpit's VOR, which tracks radio signals from the ground, indicated that was the correct direction. Less than 12 minutes later, the plane crashed to the ground miles off course. The plane hit mountains, terrains a few hundred meters into South Africa, killing 34 people, including President Machel. The original investigation included the errors of the flight crew were to blame, and that they'd programmed their VOR wrong for the wrong ground beacon. Many people remained unconvinced. In South Africa itself, many people believe that the apartheid government arranged for the murder. Prominent South African ambassador Abdul Minty has also said he's convinced an electronic decoy was utilized to give the pilots false information about the maps in the region. That's a lot of effort to go through that.
Yes, it is.
Number 2 is Korean Airlines Flight 007, and this one was shot down by a Russian airplane, I believe, or Russian MiG, I'm pretty sure. September 1st, 1983, Korean Airlines Flight 007 was shot down by a Soviet Su-15 interceptor jet. The Boeing 747 was carrying 269 passengers and had veered into Soviet airspace while flying between Anchorage and Seoul. The immediate reaction from the USSR was to deny knowledge of the plane. When they eventually admitted shooting it down, they claimed the plane was on a U.S. spying mission. A report released in the 1990s confirmed the Soviets had no evidence for that theory. The actions of the U.S. government suggest that they may have had something to hide. However, they killed an investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board and requested that the International Civil Aviation Organization investigate the crash instead. The NTSB had powers to subpoena documents, and witnesses to the ICAO could only ask for nicely. Some believe the American agency had monitored the flight of KL 007 on radar and failed to take any action to alert anyone. So maybe they tried to just let it happen. And
sad situation.
It very much so is. Number 1, Mull of Kintyre crash. The deadliest peacetime helicopter accident in the history of the RAF took place on June 2nd, 1994. A Chinook en route to Inverness from Northern Ireland crashed into the Mull of Kintyre, killing all 29 people on board. The passengers were 25 senior intelligence officials on their way to a security conference. An internal report originally declared the cause of the crash to be a mistake by pilots who were said to have been negligent to a gross degree. The families of pilots didn't believe that. They believed that the RAF had spent a lot of money installing deficient computerized control systems despite being warned against it by the USAF. Now, for those who don't know, that's the United States Air Force.
Yes.
Which I don't know why the Air Force would be dealing with a Chinook. Doesn't make any sense either way.
No, it does not.
They believe the pilots had been made a scapegoat in order to save face. A lawyer for the family of one of the pilots found that the initial RAF investigation had found no fault with the pilots, but had later been authored by senior officers. In 2010, an internal Ministry of Defense document was leaked describing the software as positively dangerous.
Wow.
25 intelligence specialists.
Yeah.
That's a little odd.
Yes, it is. You know, something else that's a little bit odd, we've talked about it a little bit on the podcast show, and I think we may have talked about it on this. I don't know the exact number of years, but there's been for some reason I'm thinking it's 15 years. Like over the last 15 years, there's been 200 NASA scientists that have committed suicide.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've mentioned that on the show before.
I don't listen to the show.
I know you don't.
I don't listen to you either.
Yeah, I know you don't. But, I mean, think about that. I can about guarantee you that all 200 of those did not commit suicide.
And if they did, why? That raises more questions.
I don't think they did. I think they were put out of their misery because of what they knew.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. But 200 NASA scientists. Wouldn't that raise suspicion?
Oh, yeah. Maybe it was over the last 20 years.
I mean,
I'll have to look that up and get an exact total on that. But yeah, that's just that's the world's an odd place, my friend.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you hear too recently that the man in charge of NASA now, I can't think of his name, I don't have the story pulled, but he says that NASA will come on board also and be involved in the congressional briefings on UAPs. And he wants to get to the bottom of it.
Oh, really?
But here's a funny thing. He's been in high-class positions before, high-classified positions, where he could have got disclosure and never did it before. But now he's suddenly changed, his opinion has changed, so to speak, I guess. I don't know. So, coming up this Sunday, episode 33 of our podcast show, our good friend from Talk Junkie, Justin Perkins, actually sat in the whole show. It's a supersized show, 3 hours in length.
Yeah, we talk a lot.
Ear candy goodness. We also have a special interview on that show we'll be talking about a little bit later. But here is a sample of myself, Cronkite, and Justin Perkins. And again, this episode is already up by now. And but be sure to check out episode 33 of Here to Chew Bubblegum. Justin, thanks again for being here. We love it when you stop by.
Oh, I'm tickled to death to be here. I mean, it's very seldom I get to have somebody else to talk to and two people that I respect their opinions and enjoy their show. So I'm tickled to death to be here.
Well, thank you very much.
We're happy to have you.
Very happy. What are you looking at on your cell phone there, Cronkite?
Don't ask the questions you don't want answers to.
Oh, okay. I'm going to start out real quick before I turn it over to Cronkite. The government report that is supposed to come out June 25th, government UFO report, no evidence of aliens, but doesn't rule it out. This is coming from a report from TMZ. The U.S. government is set to release an unclassified report on UFOs for the first time ever. And while intelligence officials reportedly found no evidence of these mysterious, unexplained flying objects are alien spacecraft, it doesn't discount them either. According to reports, the upcoming UFO report expected to be delivered to Congress sometime before June 25th doesn't completely rule out the possibility that UFOs encountered by Navy pilots in recent years are aliens. It's just that there's no solid proof. That's what TMZ is saying. Instead, the report is expected to confirm that these objects are not top-secret American technology, but could potentially be experimental or hypersonic aircraft from other countries that we have issues with, like Russia and China. What do you guys think about that?
If those videos are accurate, and the one that shows the triangle or the pyramid, to me those look like drones. I'm talking more of the favor stuff, the Tic Tac. If those are accurate and that's the level at which those crafts can move, and those crafts belong to a non-American, especially one of our enemies, you can say it however you want to say it, but if you want to be sensible about it, Russia and China to some degree would consider themselves our enemies. If that's the case and that belongs to them, learn a different language real quick, because we're outgunned, and I don't believe for a second that's who it belongs to.
Me neither.
This is the weird thing. When I thought they would never disclose anything, I think my beliefs that some UFO sightings were legitimately probably probes from another planet, I don't know, or another dimension, whatever it was. I thought they weren't us. And then the minute the government looks like they're going to reveal something, I'm like, okay, this belongs to us. And then now that it looks like they're going to try to really weasel their way out of something that's not easily explained away by saying, that belongs to the Russians, I'm back to believing this. It's amazing how much my distrust for the government really kind of...
And welcome back to Here to Chew Bubblegum. I am Cronkite. That man across the table from me is Goose.
Yes, I always love having Justin in with us. Justin is a highly intelligent man.
He definitely is. Yeah, he makes me feel stupid.
There's a lot of people that should make you feel stupid.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't listen.
You don't hang around with me because you feel smarter than me, do you?
Huh?
Never mind. We're going to step away.
Yes.
We are going to take a break. We're going to have Elliot's articles, Ned said, and then we will come back, and I will tell you who Stanley Meyer is.
Exciting.
Have you ever heard of Stanley Meyer?
I think is that the guy with the steam cleaners?
Something close to that, but
Okay.
we'll tell you all about it. You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Take a lighter look into the darker side of the world. Join Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle as they jump into the dark abyss of hauntings, serial killers, conspiracy plots, and beyond. The Spooky Family Podcast premieres July 1st, wherever you find and listen to quality podcasts.
Researching the inner workings of the net to bring you stories of the strange and unusual. It's Elliot's Articles on Here to Chew Bubblegum. Take it away, Elliot.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Elliot with Elliot's Articles on Here to Chew Bubblegum. I've got two tales to talk about this week. One of a time traveler, or a supposed time traveler, and another mystery that has yet to be solved. Let's start out with the time traveler story. In March 2003, the FBI arrested a 44-year-old man named Andrew Carlson. He had just enjoyed the luckiest run on the stock market in history. In the space of 2 weeks, he turned $800 into $350 million. Now, naturally, this caught the eyes of the authorities. Yet, instead of the usual denial, Carlson shocked the FBI with a full 4-hour confession. He was no ordinary inside trader. His 126 high-risk trades had paid off because he always knew they would. Andrew Carlson, you see, was a time traveler from 250 years in the future. At first, Andrew's confession was not believed. A spokesperson for the Securities and Exchange Commission said he's either a lunatic or a pathological liar. He may be capitalized on unexpected business developments, which simply can't be pure luck. The only way he could pull it off is with illegal inside information. He's going to sit in a jail cell on Rikers Island until he agrees to give up his sources. But Carlson never gave up his sources. However, he did admit that he made a tactical error. As part of his plea bargain, he offered to tell authorities the whereabouts of Osama bin Laden and a cure for AIDS. It's not known whether he did reveal those secrets. Though determined to prove him a liar, the FBI could find no records of Carlson's existence before December 2002. Merely 3 months before they picked him up. Even stranger, an unidentified benefactor posted his $1 million bail on the 3rd of April. Carlson was due in court for a bail hearing. He disappeared on the way to the hearing and never has been seen again. So was he a real time traveler? Well, we'll probably never know. The second article for today is the Torrid Mystery. Now, this happened in New Delhi. It was July 1954, when a very smartly dressed man arrived at the Haneda Airport in Tokyo, Japan. Much like other passengers, he made his way to customs, but whatever happened from that point onwards has left all puzzled and concerned. When questioned by the customs officer, the mysterious passenger said he was from Torrid, also referred to as the Torrid Mystery. The mystery man claimed that it was the 3rd time he was visiting Japan from his country, but to the surprise of officers, they couldn't find any country named Torrid. The primary language of the man, described as Caucasian-looking with a beard, was French. However, he was purportedly speaking Japanese and many other languages as well. Officers were perplexed because they had never heard of any such country. The passport of the man was issued by, of course, Torrid. The passport looked authentic, but the place was not recognized. The man was then given a map and asked to point out his country. He immediately pointed to the area occupied by the Principality of Andorra. Andorra is on the border of France and Spain. The man said his country had been in existence for 1,000 years and was a little puzzled by why this country was called Andorra on the map. The man argued with the customs officers for long and refused to give in. He was also carrying currencies of different countries, probably because he had made several business trips. The mystery man shared other details, like the company for which he was working and the hotel with which he'd stayed. Officials found out that the company which he mentioned existed in Tokyo, but not in Torrid. Similarly, the hotel he mentioned did exist, but hotel employees informed them that no such booking had been made. This prompted officers to take the man into custody for further interrogation. Officers were suspicious that he might be some criminal and confiscated his documents and personal belongings. The officers put the mystery man in a nearby hotel while they conducted their investigation. To ensure that the mystery man didn't escape, 2 guards were placed on the door. It must be mentioned that the hotel room in which he was staying only had 1 entry and exit point. To everyone's surprise, the man vanished the next morning. Not only that, but all of his personal documents had also disappeared. A search was launched to find the man, but in vain. The thing that was troubling investigating officers was that he was put up in a room high in the multi-story hotel building with no balcony. Some people argued that the mystery man was indeed from Torrid, but that the country happened to be in another universe, and somehow he passed through a parallel dimension and ended up in Haneda Airport. Another theory is that the mystery man was a time traveler and had mistakenly landed at the airport. Above all this, there were people who claimed that it's just an elaborate internet hoax. Both of these stories, although they're a little bit different, are, what I like to point out is strange time travel stories. On the round table, I mentioned that I do believe that maybe we're looking at alternate universes and not time travel or alien extraterrestrial visitations. What's your opinion on this? Write into Here to Chew Bubblegum and let us know. Stay vigilant, dear listeners. Elliot, out.
It's now time for Ned Said on Here to Chew Bubblegum.
When you clean your vacuum cleaner, you become a vacuum cleaner.
Goose and Cronkite. Give the guys a break. They're not that bright.
Little unsolved mysteries. Robert Stack, circa 1987. To bring us back, what do you think about that, Cronkite?
How old were you there?
I'd rather not say.
36.
I am 36. Let's just stay with that. So we're going to talk about Stanley Meyer. Have you ever heard of Stanley Meyer? And he's not the Stanley Steamer vacuum man.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Okay, Stanley Meyer was born August 24th, 1940, and was one of 2 twin boys. His twin brother is Stephen Meyer. He was the author of various patents in oceanography, cardiac monitoring, and banking systems of validation. He had 42 patents in all, including 10 in Canada. At the beginning of 1989, it appeared that Meyer may have received preferential treatment at the patent office. Some of his patents were accepted in 1993. The patents of Myers were dispatched in only 8 months, which is a very short time. It proves to some degree that the patent office thought Myers' technology was significant, given that approximately 200,000 patent applications were queued at that point in time. Meyer worked for the Batella Foundation in Ohio. He also worked on the development of the Gemini project with NASA and also worked on the feeding system for energy on concept EBED for the Star Wars project. What do you think about him so far? Smart guy.
Yeah.
Very smart. Stanley Myers always financed his own scientific work. Meyer was recognized and rewarded by national and international organizations and was elected Inventor of the Year in Who's Who of America in 1993. Meyer also received support from Canada, England, and Sweden. His focus turned to water fuel cell technology in 1975, a year after the end of the Arab oil embargo, which had triggered high gas prices, gas pump lines, and anxiety. It became imperative to him that we must bring in an alternative fuel source, and we need to do that very quickly, he was quoted as saying. This led Meyer to developing what he patented as the water fuel cell. Have you heard about Meyer before, now that I mentioned the water fuel cell?
Yeah, I've definitely heard of that.
So you know how the story ends, but just don't say right now. We're getting there. Do you know how it ends?
Vaguely.
Okay. Meyer claimed that an automobile retrofitted with a device could use water as fuel instead of gasoline. Eyewitness accounts suggested that the U.S. inventor Stanley Meyer had developed an electric cell which would split up ordinary tap water into hydrogen and oxygen with far less energy than required by a normal electrolyte cell. Meyer made a demonstration before Professor Michael Lafton, Dean of Engineering at Mary College in London, Admiral Sir Anthony Griffin, a former controller of the of the British Navy, and Dr. Keith Hindley, a UK research chemist. They all agreed that Meyer's cell developed at the inventor's home in Grove City, Ohio, produced far more hydrogen and oxygen mixture than could have been expected by simple electrolysis. Stanley Myers claimed that his invention could do what physicists says was impossible, turn water into hydrogen fuel effectively enough to drive his dune buggy cross-country on 20 gallons straight from the tap. He would be hailed as a visionary and a genius. He would also be sued and declared a fraud, sadly to say. After more than 20 years of research and tinkering, Stanley Allen Meyer, his twin brother, and two Belgian investors raised glasses in the Grove City Cracker Barrel on March 20th, 1998. Stephen Meyer recalls the events of that evening. Stanley took a sip of cranberry juice, then he grabbed his neck, bolted to the door, dropped to his knees, and vomited violently. I ran outside and asked him what was wrong, Stephen recalled. He said they poisoned me. That was his dying declaration. They poisoned me. Stanley Meyer's bizarre death at the age of 57 ended that work. If proved valid, it could have ended our reliance on fossil fuels. People who knew him say his work drew worldwide attention, mysterious visitors from overseas, government spies, and lucrative buyout offers. Myers died March 21st, 1998, and his death sparked a 3-month investigation that consumed and fascinated the City Grove police. But in the end, the coroner's report ultimately listed the cause of death as a brain aneurysm. Myers' death was laced with all sorts of stories of conspiracy and cloak and dagger theories, said Grove City Police Lieutenant Steve Robinette. He was the lead detective on the case. If Stephen Meyer was shocked at his twin brother's collapse and death, he was equally flabbergasted by the Belgians' response the next day. Stephen said, I told them that Stan had died, and they never said a word. He recalled, absolutely nothing. No condolences, no questions, nothing. I never had a trust of those two men ever again. Do you buy that it was a brain aneurysm?
No. I mean,
you know, I looked up when I was researching that story. I looked up and the grabbing the neck pain, and violent vomiting. That is symptoms of a brain aneurysm. It's also symptoms of being poisoned. Mm-hmm. I really didn't dive that deep into it. The reason I wanted to mention about that is because we'll be talking about other inventors who mysteriously died. You know, think about Nikola Tesla for a minute, you know, and how he was hit by a car and they never found a driver. And he was supposedly working on this big super project that the U.S. military didn't want. He was trying to sell it to another country. And then, you know, a week or so later, once the military finds out what he's doing, he's hit by a car. I don't know if it was a brain aneurysm. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a coroner. I didn't do an autopsy. I just find it very weird that he's meeting with two Belgium guys. And, you know, some people say that it was a fraud. I've watched documentaries on him in the past, and I tend to swing towards the other way, that he may have been murdered for, you know, his technology.
Now, is there a poison that could cause a brain aneurysm?
I didn't look that up. That's a very good point. I will have to check into that. I didn't look that one up.
Any of our listeners know.
Yes, please write in. Let us know. Also, on this episode 33 of our podcast show, we have a very special guest, TikTok celebrity Rebecca Short.
So what do you think of the technology boom after Roswell?
Technology comes in phases, and I think that it was just that point in time that they felt ready to roll it out, because the technology is always far more advanced than what they are letting us have access to.
What do you think, do you think there's a secret space program at Antarctica, or why do you think we are not allowed there?
Ooh, I love Antarctica. Antarctica is very fascinating.
Yes, it is.
So, oh gosh, where do I start? Okay, so let's start. We're talking about the dark sea, right?
Yes.
So that ties into the Nazis, right? Which ties into the entrances to inner Earth.
Do you think that Hitler killed himself?
Ooh, no, I'm so glad you asked. No, he didn't. He escaped through a U-boat.
That was a great interview.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was probably one of the best interviews that we've ever done.
You know, and I didn't know who she was until after we talked to her,
Right.
and I went and started watching some of her TikToks. I mean,
She knows a lot.
she's the real deal.
She's done a lot of research.
Yes.
And we'll be having her on the show again, and possibly her better half, Chris. And we may even be working with him on something later on down the road this summer. Very entertaining, very, very intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Entertaining. You said it. You put it right on the nose. She is very entertaining.
You know, and I mean, when I first got the TikTok account for the show, you know, I watched some of her videos, and she was talking about stuff that we talk about on the show. You know, and she was giving perspectives that I hadn't even thought of. And
She takes it to another level.
very, very, very fascinating. Very fascinating.
Speaking of TikTok, I've had some people asking when you are going to do a TikTok dance.
Never.
You said that you would do a TikTok dance.
You said I would do a TikTok dance. I
And you
never
agreed.
said that.
Yeah. You said that was the whole reason you got TikTok.
I just said that so you'd shut up.
People are asking. The fans want to see it.
Well, I will do one if you do it with me.
No.
Why?
Because.
Well,
I didn't say I would. You did.
Maybe I will do one then.
You will.
Or maybe I'll get somebody else to do one.
Nope, you'll do it.
No.
The listeners want you to do it.
No, I don't.
The listeners have spoken.
No.
They've spoken, Goose.
No, they haven't. Let's move on to some question of the week responses. Our question of the week was, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
You've had a week. What would you change your answer?
I think I would go with invincibility, like you said.
Yep, I think I'm going to stay with invisibility myself.
So go ahead, start us out.
Coincidentally, that's what Ralph says. He says, that's a tough question, but I think I'll go with invisibility.
See, he said invisibility, not invincibility.
I said invisibility.
So he wants to be able to be invisible.
That's what I said I wanted to do.
Well, I want to be invincible.
You said what you said. You said.
Invincible means you can't kill me.
Right, you said I want to be invincible like you.
Brad says, the ability to see the future. Once I had it, I'd place bets, get money, and become a real-life Batman. Well, Brad, I'm not a fan of Batman, so
I like Batman, but he did it the right way.
Batman's not a real superhero. He's a rich guy with a lot of money.
And he could be very well be the only actual superhero.
No, he's not. He's an ordinary human.
Him and
Bill Gates could
him-
be Batman
him-
if he wanted to.
Bill
Jeff
Ga- no,
Bezos
Bill Gates could
could
not.
be Bill Gates.
He
could
could.
be
he could be
Batman
Bill Gates
if he wanted to.
Yeah, if he wanted to. He doesn't
Elon
want to.
Musk could be Batman if he wanted to.
If he wanted to, but he doesn't want to. Here's the thing. Batman has all that money, and what's he do? He fights crime. Tony Stark, what'd he do? All that money, fights crime.
Well,
the true superheroes. What's your guy go? He come from planet Kryptonite.
That's exactly right, and he's a true he's a true superhero.
Yeah, he was a weakling on that
If
planet.
Batman
That's why
was
he
so
came to our
great,
planet.
Why didn't he save his parents when
He
they were
was-
shot?
He was a child.
Well, guess what? When Superman was little, he lifted the truck off of his
Because
adopted
he's not
father.
human.
It don't matter.
It does.
He was a child. He
That's
still
not-
saved him.
that's
Batman
not a
didn't.
superhero.
Yes, it is.
No, that's just another
Yes, it is. Just
species
read us the next one on
that
your list.
can't work, that was weak on his planet, so he came here to dominate ours.
All right, let me ask you a
Dixon
question.
09 says, to be strong enough to stop a speeding locomotive.
Oh, there you go. Thank you very much, Dixon 09. Who's your second favorite superhero?
Iron Man.
Spider-Man.
Okay.
I like Spider-Man. And then third would be Batman. So,
Ooh.
yeah. Connie says, I'd like to be able to fly.
Adam says, I'd like to be invisible. Let's do invisibles.
Well, there you go. Leo Leonard says, invisibility. Another invisibility.
There's 3 invisibilities. Terry, to transport anywhere I think of.
No, that is a good one. I'd like
It
to
is
be
a
able
good
to transport like that. But Batman's not a superhero.
He is.
No, he is not.
Very much is.
Jimmy D says, I'd like to be able to fly like Superman. So see, our listeners have some good answers for if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I'm just going to go on a record here and say Superman is probably the stupidest.
Why?
I just told you. He couldn't cut it on his planet, so he had to come here and dominate ours.
Dude, he was a baby. His parents sent him here.
Yeah, because he was a disappointment.
But no, because
He was a disappointment
about
to
to
his
explode.
He was a disappointment to his parents.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Terrible,
No.
terrible person. that
No.
guy. That's why he
No.
came here.
No.
And then he walks around with these glasses on, and nobody's like, I don't know who that guy is.
Well, I know who he is. It's Superman. Well, I want to thank everyone who answered our question of the week. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396, or you can email Goose at here-to-chewbubblegum.com or Cronkite at here-to-chewbubblegum.com. We also want to remind you about the Pikeville Comic and Toy Con. Tell us about that, Cronkite.
Well, on July 31st at the Appalachian Wireless Arena, the Pikeville Comic and Toy Con will be in full swing, and Goose and Cronkite will be there walking around talking to the folks, doing some podcasts, doing some radio shows, just doing, everything.
There you go.
You can reach them at their website,
Yes.
PikevilleComicCon.net, or their Facebook page, eStore and Tech Shop.
There you go. Let's see. I also want to encourage everyone to be sure to check out episode 33 of Here to Chew Bubblegum on your favorite platforms.
Absolutely
iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Overcast, Google Cast. Wherever you find quality podcasts, you will find Here to Chew Bubblegum.
Absolutely packed with tremendous interviews, both of them.
Yes, and this episode is one of our longest episodes and probably one of my favorite episodes.
Definitely.
Before we go, I want to say special thanks to Carlin for all the voiceover work, CK, Uncle Bill, and the rest of the gang over at debpit.com. Justin Perkins of Talk Junkie. Be sure to check out Down on the Holler with Jordan and Brad. Also, check out Seth's Daily Podcast. Also, don't forget about the Spooky Family Podcast debuting on July 1st. For more information, you can visit spookyfamilypodcast.com. Again, Spooky Family Podcast coming on July 1st. For more information, spookyfamilypodcast.com. And if you're on TikTok, be sure to look up Rebecca Short. Oh, anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think
that'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week. And until then, so long for now.
We'll see you.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.